obviously your second meeting against this team in a pretty quick turnaround. How beneficial is that, given how good this team is going up against them?
Yeah, great challenge, especially turning around this quickly. Sometimes you play teams a second time months apart, and there's only so much that carries over, but the things from that game are relevant for both teams, so it allows them to go back and make some adjustments against us, which I'm as excited about seeing that. You know, we're trying to learn about not only ourselves, but the way the league sees us, and so I'm interested to see what they do the same or differently tonight. And it allows us to do that as well, and hopefully improve on some of the things from a week and a half ago. But another high-level game, great opportunity for both teams, and we'll both get better from the experience tonight.
You mentioned last week that it's hard for you to do too much of a deep dive on the Cats because you don't see them much. So I guess, what do you think of Darius now? What do you see from him now, and how do you rate him among his peers at that position?
Great player, great player. Great control of the game when he's got the ball in his hands. I think it's impressive how he and Mitchell have not only coexisted, but have been able to thrive together. I think that's something Shea and Jalen have done a great job of here, but I don't think you can take that for granted. More is not always better, but they've done a great job of that. And then he's as much of a passing threat as he is a scoring threat, which doesn't take anything away from his scoring. But with the guys that can really score, they're hard to deal with, but there's a pretty straightforward plan on them, and when somebody is willing to burn you with the passing as well, and that was a huge part of the game last week against us. I thought they did a great job of attacking us. We were very aggressive with them, and they burned us on a lot of plays as a team. And it starts with his willingness, Mitchell's willingness to get off the ball. And so, great respect for him. He's obviously having a great year. He's a great player.
So, Cavaliers' size is clearly a challenge regardless of the circumstances. Without a 7-footer, how are you guys able to kind of minimize or mitigate that disadvantage?
We'll see. Sometimes it's about minimizing the advantage, which we're going to try to do. But obviously, there's a natural disadvantage baked in there, and then some of it's about beefing up our other advantages. Not necessarily trying to outsize a team that's bigger than you, but find a different way to outplay them, and that's our challenge tonight, and that's their challenge tonight. We're going to be different than we were a week ago without Hart. And it's a great opportunity to test ourselves in that way against, obviously, a elite team with a great front line.
And related question, and I know you only see them a couple times a year, but what have you seen in terms of the evolution of Devin Mobley?
Just continues to get better. He looks stronger this year, like markedly stronger in terms of tangible strength. I don't know what his weight room numbers are, but I mean, he definitely feels stronger in the game, more compact, more decisive with his decision making, shooting, as well as his passing. Like I said, we were really aggressive with them last week, and when you're like that, it forces those guys to be playmakers, and they were playmakers. I mean, he and Allen did a great job in that game, and so certainly an evolved player, somebody we have a lot of respect for, but he just keeps getting better and more confident.
Mark, earlier this season you talked about keeping tabs on guys who used to be in the program. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Ty Jerome and sort of his development in this new space in Cleveland, where it really feels like he's found his spot.
Yeah, he's gotten a great opportunity there. He's kind of got the same game that he's always had. He's got great pace to him. He's got a lot of tricks. He's able to create space despite not blowing by a lot of people. Some of it's his shooting skill, but he's got a great little in-between game that he can leverage, and they've found a nice role for him on this team, in that second and fourth quarter area of the game, where he goes in there and he really gets some stuff done. I mean, he was really impactful in our game, and did it with making floaters, which is tough. It's tough when a guy does that to you. So, happy for anybody that starts here, passes through here, and goes on and has success, as we've talked about before. He's no different.
Mark, I know you're not usually out there during warm-ups and stuff, but when Shea's done warming up, there's basically fans lined up from the tunnel that you guys come in and out of, wrapped around the baseline to that far tunnel opposite your bench, and he probably signs as much or more than any star. Just what do you think that kind of says about him, or kind of an insight into his character?
Well, we had Christmas, and then we went to Indiana, and it's like cold in Indiana. We're there like on Christmas Day, and then we play Indiana, and then we had a back-to-back against Charlotte. Was it back-to-back? I think it's back-to-back. Sorry, I lied. Man of my word, I'm sorry. Apologize to everybody. We arrived in Charlotte, relatively late. I don't know what time it was, and it was cold in Charlotte, and there were fans outside the bus at whatever time it was, at whatever temperature. And he sits in the back of the bus. He's usually one of the last guys off the bus. We wait until all the players are off, so I'm just sitting there, and the guys file into the hotel. All any of us want to do is go to our room and go to bed. And he takes a left and he signs every autograph. And he does that, almost every single time on the road. I don't want to throw anything at anybody else that doesn't do that, but I do just think it speaks to his humility. He's remained the same guy all throughout this, unbelievable rise that he's had. Can't say enough about him. I think it's just another example.
Coach White?
Coach, so being thin up front, obviously with no Isaiah Hartenstein, last time he was out, though, you didn't have Jalen Williams. How much did that play into this game, especially when you have Kerrich Williams, as well, that you can kind of turn to? And if so, is that a conversation you had with Jalen going into this one?
No conversation. I mean, the biggest thing for all of our guys is that they go in the game and play to their identity and their strengths. And so with Hart out, we're not asking Jalen or Kenrich or anybody else to do anything different than they normally do. We're just asking them to bring, their strengths to the team and everybody to do that and to compete together and have the whole be better than the sum of the parts with the parts that we have tonight. And that's been our mentality for forever. And so there's no conversation needed. And then in terms of the way that we utilize them, it's good to have them. It gives us a different option and some physicality on the glass and on the interior, which he always does a great job of. And so he'll help us in those minutes tonight. And then there'll be other minutes where we downsize and we're small at that spot.
Anybody else? Go ahead, you all in the back.
How are you? Traffic today? Was there traffic today?
Something like that. Dub was on a podcast telling the story about Alex and how he brought his championship rings in the locker room. Just that sort of that thing. I know you always talk about it feels like he's been here 3 years, just in terms of the way he's integrated himself, but in terms of the way he's influenced the guys. I'm pretty sure that level of championship experience. Do you have any moments, or can you say anything about the way he's sort of done that?
No specific anecdote. What I would say is the speed with which he's been able to do it. And I've seen this before. It's not just reputation that earns that respect. Especially on an established team that has had shared experiences and shared success. The reason he's able to do it with that level of speed is the way he plays and the way he behaves. He's always competing, and he's always inside the team. Always. There's never a minute of the day where it's about him and not about the team. And when you are with if you care about the team and you care about team success, and somebody's like that, whether it's their first day or whether they've been here for 5 or 6 years, you respect that. And he and Hartenstein have done a great job of earning that respect right off the rip, because they're always in character on that. There's never a moment where they're not team-oriented. There's never a moment where they're not competitive, and that's why he has the respect he does and the platform that he does inside the team.
He's had stops, but surely this is like the youngest group he's been a part of. Do you think they've rubbed off on him in any way, just in terms of maybe keeping things lighthearted or whatever way they might rub off on him?
Yeah, I mean, the train was moving. when those guys got here. I mean, we've had this core together for a couple years, and like I said, we've had shared experiences, shared successes, and so those guys have had to hop aboard a moving train, and have done a great job of that. And I'm sure that there's ways that, hopefully, there's ways that we've helped them and we've rubbed off on them, to use your term, but specific to how that is, you'd have to ask him. But like I said, those guys have done a great job of just being one of the guys and kind of getting on that moving train very quickly and earning respect very quickly.
Anyone else? Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.